Hello, everyone. My name is Reggie McIntyre with Louisiana Tech Athletics, and I'm here with Paige Grisham from Drury University. Paige, it's great to see you today, and congratulations on your new role at Drury. We can't wait to hear your advice for mid-level professionals on brand definition as a part of NACMA's 5 and 5, brought to you by the Brand Management Committee. How are you doing today, Paige?
I'm great. How are you?
Good, good. As we get started, will you share with our listeners how you define the term brand?
Sure. And thanks again for having me. I really appreciate it. So defining the word brand and what it means to me, I mean, a brand is everything. It's really how your customers, how your fans perceive your brand from the outside, or and how they perceive your team, your athletics department as a whole. So it's our whole identity. It's so integral to everything we do.
Thank you for the definition, Paige. I've learned that you've recently just been promoted. I heard you an absolute rock star. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes.
Awesome.
I am now our director of parent, family, and athletics giving at Drury University. In my prior role, I did marketing and ticket operations in athletics.
Absolutely. I could never imagine taking on such a role. All right. 5 minutes on the clock. Please describe how you currently focus on your brand. Can you give a specific example of an area where it is important to tighten your brand over the past several months?
Yeah. So our brand and who we are as the Drury Panthers is a part of pretty much everything we do. We're lucky to have a pretty strong brand identity for being a smaller school. Now, with that said, we've kind of made some adjustments over the last year. From the outside looking in, and myself included when I got hired, it was perceived that our colors were black and red, and they're actually not. They're scarlet and gray, and I realize that I'm a hypocrite by having on black and red during this interview, but we're just going to ignore that. So anyway, we took it upon ourselves to kind of refresh our brand guide and refresh a few of our logos to reflect that scarlet and gray color scheme, as well as going back and matching our colors in athletics to that of the university. That way we are cohesive across the board. So that was a big undertaking and something that we're proud of.
Awesome. How important is it for athletic departments to have a clear vision for how branding impacts units within the department?
Yeah. I mean, having that clear vision is so important because it has that trickle down effect, right? That vision has to come from the top down. And, if you don't have that vision, sometimes, and I've seen this before, it'll be the Wild West of branding with your different sports and different programs kind of doing their own thing. Whether you have a bowling team that takes like part of your logo and puts like exploding bowling pins around the outside of it, it's like, whoa. We have a one consistent look. So that vision and that plan has to be very clear. It has to take into consideration all the different programs that you may have. But it is important because it does have that effect on every single program.
Absolutely. Now, will you walk us through a relationship you've established that has been key to moving your athletics department's brand forward?
Yeah, kind of back to my other answer, it's the coaches. And having that relationship with the coaches in regards to branding is so huge because they're the ones ordering apparel for their teams, whether it's uniforms or just other general apparel. They're the ones posting on social media, on their own outlets. And then that in turn affects how our student athletes perceive the brand and potential prospective student athletes. So it's all about having that buy-in from the coaches of, this is who we are, this is where we're going as a department and as a brand, and having them cohesively work together towards one vision. So that relationship is just huge.
Totally understand. Again, relationships in our industry is so key. And quite frankly, no matter where you are, that's how you continue to move those brands forward. So thank you.
Yeah.
Now, can you explain why developing and maintaining brand identity is important?
You know, having that brand identity and just having a brand in general is, to me, about telling your story. Who are you, and why would a fan, why would a potential student athlete, a potential student in general, want to be a part of your brand? So you've got to be able to tell that story, and if you don't have that clear story, nobody's going to listen or pay attention to your brand. So that's it, it's that storytelling piece that I think sometimes gets missed in branding. So yeah, I mean, it helps build us fans, it helps us get students. It's a win-win whenever you do tell that story well.
Absolutely. Paige, as we close our time, we'd like to ask you a final question. If you could leave our bid managers with one piece of advice related to upholding brand integrity, what would it be?
I would say that just keep in mind that it's not a perfect process. I talked about, we redid our brand guide and made some changes. I still think there are a few adjustments that need to be made and some considerations in different usage. So, you look at different logos. Does it work on a hat? Does it work on different types of programs and sports? We have 34 sports here, so there's a lot to consider there. And sometimes you miss some things. So don't be afraid to go back to the drawing board and tweak a few things after you've done something. But once you do have something that works, stick with it, because consistency and frequency with your branding is just so important to get people to listen and to get people to pay attention to who you are and to get that buy-in long term. So that would be my piece of advice.
Paige, thank you once again for joining us today. Now, that was NACMA's 5 and 5, brought to you by the Brand Management Committee.